Oh, this is one of my favorite indie titles from a dev named Todd D'Arcy, and I love the dude. And I gotta say, Falling Frontier is one of those titles that I am so looking forward to. I have an interview on the channel. You guys can check that out just by typing in Falling Frontier. He's an awesome dude. Let's check out this particular video from Upper Echelon.
All right, today's video needs a little bit of context before really diving in, but it's basically the continuation of a long-standing video series that I started way back when I only covered video games. The series is called Indie Spotlights. I just did another one recently about a game called War Tales, which is fantastic. It was primarily designed to raise awareness for deserving video game projects that maybe don't have an enormous budget or a AAA level marketing spend. The series was a bit hit or miss. I really did enjoy and believe in the games that I covered, but not all of them stuck around. A good example of that would be a game called Lemnis Gate, which is kind of dead now. And that's rather unfortunate because
Or
it
Dual
really
Universe.
was a very special creation.
That was
The
that was
concept
more
was
than one guy.
amazing. It had, at least in my mind, incredible potential. But not every game I covered has gone on to find success. That being said, some of the games I talked about did find widespread success.
Manor
One of
Lords
those
is
games,
another title I'm
arguably
looking
the
for.
pinnacle
Indie
of
dev.
sorts for the Indie Spotlight series in its entirety is Falling Frontier. I've talked about it before, and I'll certainly talk about it again, but the reason for that is very special to me. I was actually the very first creator in the entire world to cover this game and also gather my own footage. I've been meeting with the developer one-on-one for years. We first spoke about the game in 2019, I believe, and since that time...
Yeah, I beat him by a year. I'm just saying.
I'm in a fountain.
Not trying to toot my own horn. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I got there way before Upper Echelon did. Unfortunately, it didn't offer any help towards Stutter Fox or Todd because at the time, I think I had like 9,000 subscribers, 8,000 subscribers. Now we've got nearly 18,000 subscribers. Can I get an amen?
Yes! Can I get an amen? Yes!
We're doing awesome.
I've watched it grow from something creative to something incredible. Falling Frontier is the best possible example of what the Indie Spotlight series was originally designed to showcase, and today, once again, I'm able to talk about it, this time with exclusive footage, custom assets, and a whole lot more for anyone who might be interested in what I consider to be the most exciting upcoming game release. RTS games have a special place in my heart. Space combat RTS games even more so, and I won't bore everyone with the precise details on why or my childhood and how I played the homeworld demo, not the whole game, just the demo, for 2 hours every weekend during my parentally allowed computer time. But the point is that this game has a special place in my heart. I've seen it grow almost every step of the way, witnessed the creative vision coming to life, and today I get to share that with all of you, which is enormously satisfying and very fun to do. I could say it over and over again, but how about I just show you? This is what the game started as, the first version that I was ever able to play and gather footage for. And here's what it looks like now. The systems have evolved with incredible depth. The combat strategy has been elevated with a wide range of functionalities. And rather than a macro approach where I simply discuss a wider atmosphere, today I want to be hyper-specific and really explain just how deep the game has become with examples. Every ship, as the first example, now has bespoke main battle guns to match the silhouette. And those turrets are part of a broad customization system built on individual platforms.
Todd knows what's up.
The barrel's attached to the unique base, and the unique base is attached to an internal hitbox. Ships can be customized with unique modules and cannons to specialize in long-range combat, support roles, or what have you. They can have advanced sensors, tracking modules, or missiles. Beyond that, they can have search and rescue capabilities.
Search and rescue capabilities,
mine layers.
Yes,
Each of these systems has its own use case. Let's take a look at how the hitboxes function, for example. This is custom turntable footage provided to me directly of the Hanno Destroyer, which has been stripped down to show only internalized hitboxes. Each turret, obviously, has its own destructible internal base. There is a ballistic armory in the middle of the ship, which can result in some surprise kills, actually, if it gets hit too much or too often by specific ordnance.
That's
There are
Todd for you,
PDC
dude.
modules that can also be knocked offline. And there's engine components, bridges, and more.
You guys got to check out that interview. It's such a good one.
They give unbelievable depth to what would
Such a
otherwise
nice
be
dude.
a somewhat generic RTS combat mechanic. Using the railgun as an example here, there are default penetration values. The standard penetration is modified by ship armor, but loses velocity the further it travels through a ship, One is the standard 0.5 cuts the penetration in half, just as a rough overview, etc., etc. During combat, a ship lined up, let's say, bow to stern, can be shredded by railguns because the ballistic projectile will pass through multiple hitboxes at once as it goes through the ship. By the end, it may even continue on even further into ships behind the original target, as long as there's still velocity to draw from, or penetration to draw from. But correcting for this by only allowing port to starboard type hits will mitigate potential damage far better. Macro and micro are balanced quite well here. With a built-in time slow, the player can situationally control their PDC cannons in a much more effective way. They can determine targeting and control tactical advantages quite well, but the game strikes a unique balance where the system depth is quite obviously huge, while not overwhelming the player completely.
Also, your crew, you can completely compose your crew. They gain skill and based on experience and battle experience. For instance, like gunners and engineering, in terms of like repair and how often or how probable you are in hitting your targets, also have to do directly or related to the crew that you man each ship with, which is fantastic.
You won't be able to control everything in a larger combat.
It's got to have multiplayer. It's got to have multiplayer. I said it a million times. I agree, Trip.
Right down to microing an individual missile volley. Another thing I wanted to mention was
that
ship drift makes for some pretty cinematic potential movement.
But I think he'll go there. I think he'll do multiplayer.
I don't know how much I can say here, so I'm just going to be vague. Certain modules will affect movement, meaning that you won't just be clicking and forgetting about
Todd's going to make a lot of money off this, and good for him. He's been doing this for years upon years. This is his passion. This is his love.
That result in faster, superior turret positioning. Falling Frontier avoids the traditional formula. Mass resources, mass ships, win game. That's kind
of... And I think Triple says as long as he plans for it after release, everyone will still buy it. I think this will be a huge hit. I think that Todd's going to get a ton of cash from this, and I think it'll inspire him to continue development. I don't think this is a game he's ever going to stop developing. I think we're going to see updates. I think we're going to see, like, I don't know how he's going to release it, but I know he's going to probably, I'd say it's very probable he's going to continue the work on this after the release, and I think that he's going to go in the direction of expanding it to, like, multiplayer. I still think there needs to be multiplayer. I mentioned it to him in the interview. I said this is really important to have in your game. You're if you don't, you're cutting out a large audience that would like to see that. In an RTS, it's almost a must.
End of the standard. Instead of something spammy, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, I think the later half of this year, Fingers,
sick them on your enemy, and
at least that's what's planned.
It strives to give higher value to each individual.
I think so too.
That being said, there are of course different combinations that can be taken advantage of. Like
he literally works on this
with long range.
Anytime he's not working in the real,
meshing with larger, more close range type destroyers, but the balancing here between tactical skill and unit strength is well struck. Heavy ship modification obviously increases per unit cost. I probably don't need to talk about the pursuit of economic balancing here. That's just a given in any game like this.
Right, because your resources are going to dwindle to nothing. So like all of the resources are scarce. In one game of this, you're playing against the AI. The AI is very simplistic. I talked to him in terms of the like, what can we expect? And basically, like the AI at this point, at least when I talked to him years and years ago, was kind of rudimentary hunter killer. You know, it's just when it finds you, it's just going to go after you. It's pretty basic concept with most RTSs. I would like to see a much more dynamic AI built in. You know, the way they interact with you, the NPC combatants. But, you know, I think, again, that's something that can be layered in after the fact. I still think for the money, that is going to be a banger. I really think this is going to be a banger.
And I hope I'll be partially responsible for providing feedback on those values, so I hope I can do it justice. But the
it's
scope
like
of
a
the
Star
combat
Citizen
is like
RTS.
night and day compared to what it was a few years ago. Falling Frontier is an example of a game that is truly achieving its creative vision. I've had the pleasure of speaking with Hooded Horse, the publisher supporting the project, and they are an example of a publisher that does it right. And
so you can chill here and not have to worry about it.
When I say those words, you have to know I mean them. They absolutely, unequivocally support the direction of the game, and it may be true that some people on Steam or in YouTube comments are starting to get impatient. I don't really blame you.
Yes, I agree, Trip. I agree totally.
A long-standing critique of the modern video game
Noob told us why earlier. I'm not quite sure.
And unfinished. Falling Frontier is a break from that trend. It's being built into what it was always intended to be. It will launch as a fully finished, deserving product that stands proudly on 2 feet. And if that takes more time, well, we as players need to remember that if we demand excellence, which we do, it will take time. I'm not even a patient person for the most part myself, but for this I can be patient for. The level of detail involved in this game is baffling. As an example, this turntable right here, I shit you not, has been created with distance-accurate positioning from the planetary bodies that rotate by in the background.
All real time,
Not
too.
only that, scale and position for the 3 objects, Titan, Saturn, and the ship itself, has been measured with physically accurate stars. That's the level of detail in play here, just for a custom asset that was given to me personally. I could spend hours discussing the level of detail in the game itself. From ship design with visual
That's
assets
our boy.
to planetary re-entry.
Todd knows
even
what's up,
though
man.
that's entirely unnecessary, and they didn't have to do that, but that attention to detail
Because he
just
knows what
fleshes
we
out the
want.
entire
As
world.
sci-fi
All the
gamers,
way
he
to
knows
a
what we
decal
want.
system where damage will
Looks
leave
very
a patchwork
expanse.
set of burns, scars,
Look
and eventual
at this.
welding
Look at
marks
the
after
upgrade, dude.
repair,
Look
instead
at
of a
this.
pristine
Fantastic,
hull.
the work.
But some of it you'll just have to play for yourself when the game launches.
The
because
lighting,
words
ugh.
probably aren't going to do it justice. Falling Frontier
So
is a
good.
success story. Over time, the amount of support that the game received
It's called
has
Falling
changed
Frontier.
dramatically.
It's a sci-fi
Todd, the developer,
RTS.
got personal
We
support
interviewed
from
the
individuals.
dev
He got
about
support
3 or
from
4
the game's
years ago.
publisher, of course,
Maybe
Hooded Horse.
5.
He got amazing
it was
support
a long
from the
time
public
ago.
in the form of reception and positivity, which enabled him to go back to the dream, if you will, which wasn't quite as possible early on with limited resources. Now it is, and now the game is becoming something spectacular. The type of success story I am honored to have been there for, and the kind of game that will become wildly successful as a result. The problem of being forced to pick and choose is basically gone. If it makes the game better, even with a delay, it is happening. It's being added in. The things that were needed to achieve the original vision do fundamentally
Look at that
change
lightning
certain
storm
aspects
in
of
the
game
background
itself,
in
but the
space.
resulting
That was
quality is
awesome.
quite obviously worth it. Changing core fundamentals
The
can be
environment is
considered by
fantastic.
some, not in my opinion, but some people do consider it this way, to be a form of deception. But all the support that Falling Frontier has received allows
People
for
who
something
play World of
special to be
Warships
crafted
are
that is a
probably
true
gonna love this.
realization of its artistic dream. This is a success story. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Learning over time. It's the first game he's ever made, the developer, and the results here,
All
I mean, they speak for
three-dimensional,
themselves.
all real
One thing I
time.
personally found to be fascinating is that PDCs now use the same logic as first-person shooters, allowing thousands of objects to be fired. The game has become a fluid balance of performance, physics, and creative decisions to enable the most content possible, and believe me, it shows. Financial support
nice.
allowed the team to include a wildly talented professional artist, which continued to push this past
And
the
the
original
soundtrack's
highly
great, too.
ambitious
I
concept
heard the
to a
soundtrack.
dream reality, where the vision of what the game
The
should
sounds
be,
are
with, like,
fantastic.
big air quotes there,
You should play
is
some of the
actually
sounds.
the game we're getting.
Oh, that
Art,
explosion.
mechanics,
Beautiful,
scale,
beautiful
customization,
explosion.
sound, you name it. Now, one thing I wanted to do in this video, in a kind way, of course, is a bit of a call out. I don't normally do things like this, but I wanted to give my perspective on something as someone who's now met with Todd personally one-on-one for years and seen the game evolve during that span of time. This comment right here on Steam, it reads as follows, quote, "The main dev has confidence issues. He could have done an open..."
Jesus Christ, with these trolls coming in and flaming all the time, thinking that their opinions. I don't know what Major Demon Lord's saying, but dude, I've got a 2 hour, I think it's an hour and a half interview on the channel. I can tell you what, Todd did everything to be the nicest guest ever. He was the most genuine, good-hearted dude in the world. This guy is one guy working on this project, taking time out of his day to develop this for everybody else, and then you get these douchebags like Major Demon Lord coming in here. It's ridiculous, man.
beta by now at least. Problem is, by the time he's done polishing and polishing and polishing, that Hooded Horse will probably pull their support well before release, and a publisher
they
pulling
won't.
support can kill a game.
No,
And
they won't.
For starters,
That's Hooded
I can
Horse.
happily tell you
No, they won't. That Hooded Horse is happy to have Falling Frontier in its lineup. It's kind of got that traditional publisher style to it. You know what I'm saying? But Hooded Horse is a very legit, reputable company as far as what I've gathered from my experiences and my correspondences with them. Always very nice. Always giving us inside access to this project. Always. Super nice person. I can't. Don't get.
Hooded Horse is
I know,
not going
right?
to pull support for this game.
No, they
It's up
won't. It's their
around
biggest
number 30,
type.
I think.
It's one of their biggest.
I think in terms of wish lists, total wish lists on Steam, it's very much in the public eye.
Yeah.
It's highly anticipated. And Hooded Horse they're actually supportive of the idea that the product should be fully finished, which is great.
Yes.
I don't say that often about publishers. Okay?
Right,
Mark
right,
my words, that's
right.
not a common thing that comes out of my
Right,
mouth. But
exactly.
This is a good publisher-developer relationship.
Yes, yes.
Second thing, though, is that I see myself in this comment. I don't know how old this guy is, but I see a younger, intensely passionate version of myself in his words. And he says this because he's excited. He likes what he sees, and he wants to play the game. The developer does not have confidence issues, that I can assure you. He just has a well-formed vision, and he's sticking to that vision. I think that when major...
I personally think that Upper Echelon's being too nice. Like, this kid does not have any clue. Like, when I was younger, I wouldn't even say shit like that. Come at me.
I'm in a fountain.
Meet me outside, Demon Lord. Like, because I'm telling you what, when I was a kid, I'd be impatient as hell, but like at least I understood game development and I would research the things before I gave my opinion about anything, even back then, because I had that intelligence.
Your Demon Lord plays this game, he will fully understand and appreciate the work that's been done. He probably
don't
won't
even
admit it
cater to
publicly.
him.
I wouldn't.
Don't
have
even
either when
cater
I was
to him, Upper
more
Echelon.
Intensely active in the video game space.
Can't
But deep
stand
down,
that.
he will see and respect the game in a way he's probably not fully prepared for. That makes me excited.
Fuck him.
It does, because we really do often get stories of disappointment. Publishers negatively impacting video games, support being withdrawn. I mean, these are true things. They do happen. Missed expectations on release. That's a common one. But everything I see here and now with the level of access that I've been given, which is not inconsequential, by the way. I know a lot more than I can say publicly in this particular video. I am extremely confident.
As soon as I
when
get
tell
enough
you
money for a new
that this
PC
game
trip,
is one of the good ones. Sometimes I forget
I still
just
got
how
your card on
cohesive the
standby
total
for it,
vision
so don't
actually
worry,
is.
buddy.
Falling
I'm
Frontier
saving.
is a world with shades of gray. The historical progress of society that resulted in planetary names being what they are was fully thought through, top to bottom. There is an atmosphere of, I guess, Spartan culture for the digital space age. Mars and Titan are system superpowers. Earth has declined, or is in decline. Titan is a colony seeded by Europa, and Titan is actually the only faction where no one was even born on Earth. They have no strong connection to the original planet, if you will. Factions also have their own ship variants, which is awesome, with practical and decisive reasons why those variations exist. Top to bottom, it's all being considered.
I love the
What I
artillery
mean by
going
all
out
this,
and take down these
long-winded,
missiles like
yes,
that.
but
That is
very
so
necessary,
cool,
is that
man.
the game is actually rising to meet its full potential. And I know that some people will be annoyed or upset by such delays. I fully understand that feeling, but I will happily stake my reputation on this here and now. It is worth it. It's happening for a reason, and the results will be deserving of your patience. For those that want to put it on their wish list, the link is, of course, down below. I could continue talking about this. Today focused a lot on combat and ship mechanics based on a variety of interviews I've done, but some of the things I'm most excited to discuss, at least personally, they're not quite ready yet, so I can't talk about them. It's not the last time I'll talk about this game. I assure you of that. Absolutely
ridiculous,
not.
Trip.
I might even come out of my streaming retirement of sorts on full release to actually play it live on the channel, but for now, I'll leave you with this. The game started way back when, initially, with no unit collision. Only
Yeah, that's
one
what we were
type of
saying
ballistic
earlier, Aether.
projectile, and mostly just stock assets.
What's up,
now,
Hugh?
Now it has entirely redone movement, custom ships, unit collision,
see the
multiple
Discord, Hugh?
ordnance types, dozens of modules and ship customization options, crew, supply chain logistics, military logistics, and the list goes on and on and on. The scale of this world, I'm going off script here, but the scale of this sandbox that you get to play in is enormous.
Oh, somebody
impactful,
in the comments
and it just
was
feels
upset
like
at
a
Hugh.
worthy space game.
I had to
A
share
space
it
game
with
where
him.
decisions matter. A space game where every single thing you do has impact and strength. Everything feels intentional,
Right,
and,
dude?
and crafted deliberately.
You're sharing my
instead of
burden now,
haphazard.
Hugh.
I mean, it's really one of the most impressive games I've ever
Dude,
seen.
that would be
and
awesome.
it's even more
I
impressive
love
because it comes from
RTS.
such a small
I need to
team,
get back into
and
the
it's
RTS
actually
vibe.
living up to its creative vision. It wasn't just made and then thrown out there. I mean, it's going to be exactly what it was intended to be, and I just have a great deal of respect for that. What the game was back in the day, early on, seemed cool. What the game has now become
So
is
much
just
work, so much
unequivocally
progress has been-
fantastic. And I have
Yes.
no trouble calling it
Yes.
my most anticipated upcoming release, period. That's it, though.
Yeah, it
Links
was.
down below to support. I'll cut it there and stop.
I
right
love
now.
the
As
style.
always,
I love
thank you
the
all for
work.
watching.
This is
Definitely
actually.
do check it
Here's
out.
the thing. These are all real people. Like anytime you get into game development, right? I'm trying to like come at this from both the developer side and the gamer side, right? Trying to be rational about things because a lot of times when people are talking about this is why I like Upper Echelon because he talks about things also from the game development side, which is really important because I don't see a lot of YouTube content creators really go at it like that, except the ones that hang out here in the chat, because I feel as content creators, we take extra time to research it. So therefore we're immersed in the world of game development. So we understand, not completely, but we understand emotionally what these guys are going through because they're creating this for the gamer, right? and on the gamer side of things, I can understand why gamers get impatient. I get that as well. But overall, go check out the DG360 channel, and on that channel, you will see the interview with Todd D'Arcy, still one of my favorite interviews on the channel. Awesome dude, and I cannot wait for this title. So you're definitely going to want to check that out. It's worth a watch.